Continuing on the same page, 94, an objection again by Delegate Simon to item 306, number 2H. Item 306, number 2H is before the body.
Gentleman from Fairfax, Mr. Simon.
Mr. Speaker, members of the body, this is, I believe this is the amendment that would prohibit the governor from applying for Medicaid expansion. And so a couple of issues with that. Medicaid expansion, as at least creating an option to expand Medicaid, is really important for working families here in Virginia. In 2015, we asked you, where's your plan? In 2016, we said we're missing an opportunity to expand Medicaid in a way that makes the most sense, where we get the highest match from the federal government. In 2017, I rise to ask again, where is your plan to provide for the health care needs of hardworking Virginia families who are often working 40, 50 or more hours a week, sometimes at multiple jobs, often participating in the gig economy, where they don't have access to traditional benefits plans. They can't sign up for employer health insurance and so forth. Now, I understand that 2017 is a new day as far as the Affordable Care Act is concerned. The president's promised to repeal the Affordable Care Act, and that process has begun. But there's two parts to that, right? It's supposed to be repeal and replace. And so my question is, what's the replacement going to look like? And we don't know. We don't know. But I have a good feeling that it's going to include some form of Medicaid expansion. Why do I think that? Well, President Trump is not the first candidate to campaign on a promise to eliminate the Affordable Care Act and eliminate Medicaid expansion. We had governors in Kentucky and Arkansas who both promised first act as governor was going to be to roll back that Obamacare Medicaid expansion. But you know what happened in both of those cases? They got into office and realized it wasn't going to be that easy to take away health insurance for all these people that had been covered under the Medicaid expansion. So what did they do? In both cases, in Kentucky and in Arkansas, they just changed the name. They didn't call it Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. They called it something else, but it was Medicaid expansion, where you could draw down Medicaid funds. In the case of Kentucky, they added a requirement that you look for a job and seek employment. In Arkansas, they added a requirement that people with above a certain income participate in the premiums. But what they did was they took a very popular program and they kept it. And I suspect that that's what's going to happen at the end of the day when we find a replacement for Medicaid expansion. When we find a replacement, rather, for the Affordable Care Act. I think it's still going to involve some form of Medicaid expansion. I think it would be silly at this point in the process to tell the governor, you can't accept that Medicaid expansion no matter what happens, when we don't know what's going to happen next. I would encourage the body to reject the amendment and leave the governor the flexibility to do what he needs to do to help hardworking Virginia families obtain health insurance.